In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Franklin Township Environmental Commission was made by posting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, posting on the township's website, and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating this meeting would take place in person at 7 p.m. here in this town conference room, December 4th, 2023. Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Walter?
Here.
Ted Chase? Here. Easy's not here. Jessica?
Here.
Stan?
Here.
Arnold?
Here.
Robin's not here. Maria's not here. I'm here. Tara's here. And Ed's not here.
Robin away?
Robin's away somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, she gave us notice. So I have just a short comment on chair report. I know Stan's been interested in this. The Canal Walk Men's Club has been supporting the youth center, the new youth center on Lewis Street. In a recent visit, I met Joel Penson, the youth development manager. Joel indicated he was interested in getting the children involved in environmental activities. I let him know that the EC has an educational team and they would be interested in working with him. I put Maria in touch, and I believe this may develop into a solid relationship. And I saw your email, and I realized, because I've been there, like...
When we have a committee report, I will
Good.
pitch in.
Perfect. That place is, I get blown away every time I see it. It really is a great place. So, that's the call there. Approval of the minutes for the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on it?
Why are you just asking me?
Because you always have comments. You edit it. You do a real great job of editing it.
I
Proofreading.
don't think I got any comments.
Okay, well, if there's no comments, we'll vote to approve. Well,
No, I'm fine.
okay, thank you. All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. We're making great comment here. Now we'll take a bit to introduce a motion to get public comment.
So moved.
Second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Should we go over what the rules are, or
Go over what the rules are.
do I remember them? It's 5 minutes total, correct?
Right.
And this section is for,
This is general comments usually, because people haven't heard what we're going to talk about.
general comments, I think they want us to discuss.
Yeah, well, we put that into new business, we get a discussion.
But it's, and we should not be responding back.
Anybody in the public, yes?
I'll make it quick. I don't have any data. Just
Shirley, I'm sorry.
Introduce
Can you
I'm
say
sorry,
your name
Shirley,
and address,
right,
yeah.
Shirley Tolman, 57 Tolman Lane,
Thank you.
Somerset. Okay. I am very interested in looking into radon gas. I understand that radon is very prevalent in New Jersey. And I've also personally tested, I have a basement in my home in Canal Walk. And I have tested for it, and I'm not happy with what the results were. I did have some remediation done. I retested, and I don't see that much of an improvement. So I'm wondering if the commission has ever delved into the topic of radon, not just in homes, but in public buildings, etc. That's my question, I guess. Have you done anything on it?
Yes, quite a few years ago, we
Not
set
supposed
up
to
a
respond.
program that people could
She's within the 5 minutes.
actually have
He's not
their
supposed to
ear
respond.
I don't get that
tested.
responding stuff, 'cause I-
Essentially, the township set up a connection with a test lab, and you could have your ear tested.
Is that still an
Oh,
active
couple-
program? Or
Oh, I mean, finally, Ken Daly
killed it?
somehow got worried about the township was committing itself too much. I don't know. Anyway,
Right, well,
it
that's
did
sad.
not continue, but I think over 100 people got their tested, and it's very capricious. I mean, one house can have it, and the next house have nothing.
Exactly.
Because it's a natural product from, there's a particular kind of shale, the gray shale, which typically is a very small inclusion in our usual red shale. And that's what releases the radon, which is of course the product of radioactive decay of uranium-238.
Can I ask a question? You said you did some remediation. Was it, they put in some kind of piping?
Well, when the...
And if yes,
Yeah.
did it have a fan in it? Was it active pipe?
I
active
can tell you
remediation?
what happened. When the home was purchased, because it had a full basement, a pipe was put from the ground up through the basement and then up in the wall. It's a ranch, up through the roof. But there was no fan. It was a passive system.
Right, that's what
So
I'm asking.
essentially it was worthless.
So, did you put a fan?
So I called when I started reading about radon and how dangerous it can be to our health when you're inhaling it on a daily basis and night through the night. I called, and there are a number of people who do this work. Now, I did due diligence, but I don't know how good a job the guy did, all right? But he put a fan in my attic, and my brother was visiting for Thanksgiving, and he said, Shirley, I hear that fan running up there. I can't hear it, but that's my hearing. So.
Did he put a fan in your attic, or was it in the piping
In the
system?
attic.
It's not in the piping system?
No, it's in the attic, and my understanding I don't believe it's in the piping system. What it does is it draws the radon from the ground up through the pipe before the gas would escape on its own, volition, so to speak. It would just, whatever would go up the pipe would go out into the air outside through the roof. But now the fan in the attic should draw it. It should draw it out. And there's a pressure gauge on the pipe in the basement. And I check that every once in a while just to make sure that there's still pressure and that fan is still working and drawing.
The remediation products that I've seen, I'm not an expert in this, but the pipe actually has a fan within it. So that pipe is in the ground, sucking the radon out of the ground, and the pipe is sucking it harder from the ground through the pipe, which is different, I think, than what you're talking about, a fan in the roof.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be done most likely when the home is built and the pipe is installed?
It doesn't matter when it was done. It's
Okay.
something that
But I mean,
would
it would
say-
make
it's
sense.
It would, but
Yeah.
it's something you might want to look into.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. But I would like to ask if the commission, since Dr. Chase mentioned this, and it's a valuable service, and also in the way of education, if we could resurrect this group, this work that they were doing. I guess I'm over my time.
Yeah.
I was gonna make it short.
I'm trying to be.
I'm sorry, that's okay.
Can I make a comment on this?
You can make a comment.
Yeah, it's just, hi, my name is Ellen Vastola. I live at 43 Norwich Place, and I used to work at Rutgers in the Environmental Health and Safety Department. And that department, we had a health physicist, and our department undertook radon monitoring of all the Rutgers buildings, 1,100. And so our health physicist looked at the different testing methods out there, decided upon one, and it was like a small canister, and I had assigned 2 campuses, and we put them out in certain buildings, and it was amazing. On College Avenue, you have 2 houses right next to each other, the different houses that have become Rutgers departments. One house gets a high test, a high reading, the other house doesn't. So, I mean, for me, I always go, find the person who's handled that problem. I mean, for me, if I was you, I'd call Rutgers Environmental Health and Safety and maybe just ask them, you know, how did you do your radon testing? What testing companies, you know, would you recommend? Because we already did it, 1,100 doses. And we did do the fans, and what our remediation that I recall working with facilities maintenance was putting a fan in the basement and exhausting it out, keeping it out, and we did do follow-up testing to make sure that the levels remained low. And I'm hoping my memory is accurate, because this has been a little while ago, but just felt I needed to.
No, I'm glad, but could you clarify, when you put it in the basement, did you do, as this gentleman said, was it in the ground?
I don't recall that we did that, we just put, what I recall is putting a fan,
Yes.
like in the window, and exhausting it out. Things
Gotcha.
may have changed since, you know, we did it, because I've been retired from REHS, you know, for over 10 years.
Right.
But, you know, science changes a lot.
Well, now it's going through the roof, same thing, fan pulling it through the roof.
So it is, it's ventilating it out, so keeping it away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment?
I agree, I think what
This is why you don't do it.
Ms. Vastola has described as the right approach. You need to have a fan pushing the air out of the basement, because the radon comes from the ground.
Yes.
So the basement is where it will concentrate. If you have a fan in the attic, it's mostly going to draw air in from the upper part of the house and perhaps clear that, but not as effectively as having, as Ernie suggested, a fan in the pipe from the basement so that it will suck air out of the basement, and the air in the basement will be continually diluted by air coming in from the outside atmosphere, and that will keep the radon concentration low. And that I think, to my knowledge, is what generally has been done.
Okay, let's see if somebody else has any.
Well, this
any more
man was
comments.
licensed, and I assume there are requirements on them, you know, that they have to perform a certain way. Right? Wouldn't they have to perform to a standard? I mean, other than
I
that,
can
they
talk
could
to
be.
you, I can talk to you afterwards.
That'd be good.
Okay,
That'd be
all right,
good.
okay,
Yeah,
all
that'd be
right.
good.
Stipulated.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if you have a basement, but.
No, I don't have a basement.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I'm
but
on
even
the
if you
slab.
don't,
No.
right?
Yeah,
Even if you don't.
We can talk.
Okay.
yeah, we'll talk.
All right, sorry about that, I got carried away, I know. But it is important.
Yes.
Did you have any comment, anybody else? Nobody? Okay, we'll, motion to close the conference.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Discussion.
Correspondence. I got one letter, which is very interesting in a way. It's from Prologics Exchange, and they've applied to the DEP for a flood hazard individual permit, as well as an application for authorization under the freshwater wetlands general permit 10A.
Are they on World's Fair Drive?
No, Prologis is the competitor to Link Logistics. One of them is 1.6 billion, the other one is 1.4 billion. I don't remember which one's which, but they're neck
1.4 billion what?
dollars in rental costs.
Oh.
I think that's square foot across the country. I think that's what it is. How many square feet under roof? But on the back is a drawing. And the drawing shows a warehouse, 436,000 square feet, stretching evidently from Elizabeth Avenue to Davidson. Because the letter says, it just says formerly 187 Davidson. And there is an area where people are building on Elizabeth that goes all the way through to Davidson.
Well, Elizabeth and Davidson.
They were in parallel. They were in parallel.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, this is the letter. Now, I checked our website and it's not there. This says they've applied. It could be TRC is working on this. But it's something we need to be aware of. Because is this going to be run afoul of the ordinances? Is there any residences nearby? I'm not sure. They had to do with the block numbers. But somebody is planning something.
What was the first sentence that you read in that, or first two sentences?
Legal notification that an application for a flood hazard area individual permit, as well as an application for an authorization made under freshwater wetlands general permit 10A, has been submitted to the DEP for development shown on the enclosed plan. There was no enclosed plan.
So what?
Just this.
Does it
I
indicate
think
what
you-
stream or river this transverses, this property
No, I think
transverses?
the back
Or
shows,
close to the canal?
Well, there's
yeah.
a brook that runs
There was a brook
By the
through.
Ukrainian church? Is that?
No, this
Yeah,
is,
that's where it would come out eventually.
Right.
that's Eastern Avenue. That's
Yeah.
not, this is Davidson
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Elizabeth runs past the shop right,
Mhm.
and Davidson runs this way.
Mhm.
And they can, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
but
brook.
interconnected.
If you
Yeah,
go-
they're interconnected.
If you go to the palace, you cross a bridge over a brook, and then the brook runs behind Rotoclip and
Along
under
with that, yeah.
287 and comes out over by the...
187 Davidson
Church.
is somewhere between Pierce, around Pierce in that area, where Pierce crosses Davidson and Elizabeth. Because 300 is the end of Davidson. And
No, Pierce,
The one-
Pierce is like this with Elizabeth, Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce is
So
a cross street.
is it between Pierce and Brunswick Road?
Pierce runs all the way
The
across.
site,
Yeah.
is it between Pierce and New Brunswick Road?
Well, the map doesn't really show the names of the streets. The reason I made that information is because they're saying 395 Elizabeth Avenue, formerly 187 Davidson. The only way that could be right is if it's going between Elizabeth and Davidson.
Oh, well, we've seen the application
This one?
for this, you know.
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
sure that it was exactly that building, but an application for that area.
There's another one
With-
that goes through there, that they were taking down some buildings and adding buildings. But this is Prolis. This is the first time I've seen one.
I'll just see if it's,
Yeah.
if I can get on the map just for,
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen that name
what's it say?
in the, in the,
395, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so, what does it say? Block 502,
yeah.
3303, is that what
I
it
mean,
is?
I used a magnifying glass to try to read the map.
Right.
You know? It wasn't that easy.
I think it's this one right here.
That's easy, right?
187 Davidson. So this is Davidson going this way.
What's
over
it
there.
say? 502, lot 1203, oh, it's a least different. Okay, hang on 1 second, let me just try the new address. Give me 1 sec, 395, Elizabeth,
Yeah, you see that cleared area over at the left of the, there was a picture there.
That's it, isn't it?
That's
No.
not Elizabeth.
Oh, hold on.
That's in Asbury Park.
Wrong one, hold on, 395, Elizabeth Avenue. Huh, that address does not exist on Elizabeth Avenue, Somerset, but 187 Davidson does.
Yeah, because they changed their address,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what
They changed.
had me somewhat confused,
Yeah.
or a lot confused.
They're probably on a corner where they could change it from one street to
Yeah.
the other.
So it looks like it's
because
this
the
one.
property goes all the way through between.
See, they down there in the warehouse there.
But
That's
Elizabeth is quite
Rotoclip.
far,
That's Rotoclip.
isn't it?
Yeah.
50202, lot 1203, this is 3303.
Oh,
Keep
Right,
going
let's
to the
try it.
left.
Yeah, keep going to the left so that we have an idea where it's Elizabeth.
because Elizabeth is gonna be down a
This
little
is
further back.
Davidson,
And where's Elizabeth? It's over. on the
here's
upper-
Pierce.
There's Pierce.
Here's Pierce.
So then
And then you have Corman Communities.
There's the-
Elizabeth is here, so you got Elizabeth,
Okay.
let me back up.
Right.
So we got, this is Elizabeth, I'm gonna move over. This is Pierce, and this is Davidson.
It's gotta be enough, how about the lot number?
202, hold on, let me. 202, I'm looking for, so all these lot numbers have changed because of the.
I don't know, can you just go back to where you were just a second ago?
Good old days of the pointers.
Where all the trees are.
Yeah,
much.
so right here, this is Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
This is
Pierce.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Right here And this right here is where there's been a sign for many, many years for trucks not to idle. And this whole lot here, all of a sudden, every tree disappeared about a month ago.
That's
Does that say
502.
502 or 505 there?
502.01.
What's the lot number that she got?
502.02.
Oh, 02.
502.01, and this is lot, looks like 701 or something like that.
Where's
What
02?
now?
Lot 50202, lot 1203.
502.01.
I think it goes so long here.
Oh, I need my glasses. This is.
This
Hold on,
is two, right here,
But this is
502.02.
Yeah, the one above it is the tree. The
And
tree.
also here, 50202.
That's it. It says tree.
Lot 1203.
Yeah, we've had an application about that. The access is going to be from Grant Street, and they will take down the solar field there that was, I think, Rotoclips, and have a warehouse in there. So this is really rather belated. And you see that the stream runs along here. And then you can even see where the stream goes under 287.
Oh, there's that little outlet right there in the curve.
Is it the Raritan Brook, maybe?
Here, let me
Yeah.
put this on. Let me put, give me 1 second here.
Yeah, I think that's
Let's see if we can do it this way.
Well, we're gonna have to wait till we get the application, because the application's not, we're not in the mailbox, just a letter.
Did you have the water, the flooding itself? Just-
It talks about hazard
Yeah.
flooding, that's what they're asking DEP about.
Do we have another meeting in December?
It's gotta be from the stream, and there's usually a buffer on either side of the stream, that
Yeah.
you can't build on.
No. It's not a C1 stream that's there, so I'll have to like do some digging.
Okay, that's why I bought the letter.
There's the wetlands, so yeah, so that's what they need the wetlands permit for.
Oh, look at the group, look at the roof, look at this town.
Yeah. No, I see it here,
Oh, you see it
yeah,
there,
it's,
right.
yeah.
It's hard.
That's why they need a wetlands permit, so.
Yeah, an island. It's wetlands. is what it is.
All wetlands.
It's all wetlands.
Oh, that's dangerous to put anything
Of
there.
course.
That's a no, that's a showstopper.
And that whole lot is.
I think we
I guess that
had
means
an
it's all about
application.
Well, that's the only
An
application.
application. It immediately looked familiar.
That's the third.
Okay, so that's the correspondence.
Yeah, I didn't know sometimes we don't have
Oh,
one.
Jessica, is there any other correspondence you have?
No, so email wise, it's, there was, some kickbacks and solicitations for, community solar, which we've ignored in the past. And then, Kirk Frost, talking about the grants, which I have, there's a chain here, Tara, we had talked about him and how like some of these grants we hadn't applied for,
Yeah.
but he's asking for a response, so I'm not sure, should I flip him to you?
Yeah, you
Okay.
should, yeah.
Okay.
I'll respond to him.
Okay.
I just sent it to you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please excuse me.
Are people getting rowdy in the audience?
Cheryl
That's
is.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Jessica, that's it?
That's it.
Okay, that's correspondence. And otherwise, there were no site plans.
No, I'm saying that's it.
That
pretty well.
looked like something different than what I
Yeah,
thought.
this is a big one. I went through the zoning board stuff that's posted,
No, this looks-
and they were generally small houses or house things, you know, and what things we've looked at.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anything there, and there's nothing new on the, this is the first thing we've got in a long time.
Yeah?
This is what came in today. It's a subdivision, on the border of New Brunswick, or South Brunswick, and Franklin Township, on Route 27, 3077 Route 27. So there's no, this is it, there's no environmental stuff, they're just doing a
Yeah,
subdivision.
it's just a subdivision, so we probably.
We're on
have
Route
some-
27, is there
There's
a crossroad
one-
or anything?
There's one
No,
street,
put up
it's by a
3077,
medical,
right?
they're clearing like a parking lot or something.
I'll put it up here, give me
When you
one
say
sec.
clearing, is that?
Taking down a building,
Oh, okay, not trees.
not trees, no.
Oh, yeah, this
it's all-
is right in the middle of Franklin Park.
Yes, it says Franklin Park for the neighbors. I looked at the neighbors list. Mostly it's all industrial or commercial, but there were 2 houses listed with the Franklin Park address.
Okay. Yeah, they're just doing a subdivision, so they would not, here we go, this is it here up on the screen. Let me get this out of the way. So you can see, here's Route 27, it bends right here, let me see what the closest cross street is.
Didn't we have
Stewart,
application
yeah.
We did.
when they had, they wanted to make a restaurant?
A restaurant,
or
and they were gonna
catering
use
Oh,
or
yeah,
something?
it's the,
Is this the same one? I don't think so.
it's the IHOP.
The IHOP. yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
Oh, they're finally getting the White family house, I think is what this is about. Because there's a map here that shows, there's a small lot, block 34.01, lot 36. And then there's a bigger lot, lot 34.02,
This is
wrapped
all one.
around it.
This is
And
3402.
when this,
Oh, that's how it was right there. No,
Yeah.
right in the middle.
He was a little bit over.
yeah, and the White, I mean, there was, the grandmother of the White family lived there. She didn't want to move, and I think she died by now, but the family never wanted to sell the property.
But maybe that's what's happening.
So this is just an application though for a subdivision?
Yes, it's not,
So,
there's you know,
no
building.
comment from
no-
us,
No comment.
right?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now Ted had a L'Oreal resubmission, so Ted, I just saw your email when you were asking if we had other comments. And I thought we did, but then I
Okay.
couldn't find them, so anyway, I looked back and I saw, we had due comments June 6, 2023. So is that
Mhm.
after this submission, or are you looking at an old submission for L'Oreal, or is it a new one?
That should,
Because the most updated one on the website is from March.
I think that this probably was a March submission, and only
Okay.
now ready to come before the board.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we did comments dated June 6th.
Okay. I
And
thought
it
we
says
had
the
it.
following comments are submitted, and are inclusive comments made in a previous memo of April 7th, 2022. The resubmission we were reviewing was dated May 23rd, 2023, so even after March. So I'll resend this to
Yeah.
Christine, because we
Yeah.
did send it, I'll resend it to
Because
her.
the cover sheet said nothing had been received from the Environmental Commission.
Yeah, okay, I'll resend it, because we send so many things, so I'll send it right now.
Yeah.
Good, okay. So this is all that we have in site plan.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. As I said in an email, to speed up the meeting, we don't have to go over a lot of site plan. So then we're up to new business. And,
Okay.
Number 7 is internship through Rutgers.
Okay, so we had to put in information for an internship
Exactly
through
what's
Rutgers,
going
like
on.
we've had an intern in the past,
Right.
for the fall semester, and there just wasn't enough students, so we didn't get one. So now, for the spring semester, there was an interested intern, and I interviewed her. She seems really great. She's a senior at Rutgers. She is studying human ecology and biological science. Her name's Alyssa, and so she's gonna come, she accepted the internship, so she's gonna come be our intern starting in January.
Okay.
And she'll be with us again until the end of that semester. Actually, 2 interns applied for the job. And I actually really like them both, so I was able, the other intern, his name was Michael, he was more interested in doing field work and outdoors, so I was actually able to work with him through the Trails Committee. So he's gonna help her with like the Naaman Williams Park and if there's any field work involved, but he'll kind of be focusing on trails, and Alyssa will be working with us for environmental. So she'll be here like the second meeting of January.
This has to do with the $20,000 grant?
Well, the internship isn't under they'll be working on the $20,000 grant a little bit, but this is really just like the unpaid internship through Rutgers, and they'll work on a variety of things for the Environmental Commission. So yeah, she seemed really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Dan Van Am's
Yeah.
last night, and he commented that you had put in two applications.
Yeah, because the second one after I entered, he was so good that I just could not like.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
I was like, it has
noticed
to
there
be
was a
a way.
lot of field work,
Yeah.
which I thought somebody would enjoy.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I would love to do. So yeah, he's going to be helpful with the trails, doing the paint blazes, and he'll help with some of the Nathan Williams work. So.
We don't have a specific site plan, but the article in the Franklin Reporter in Abington roused my interest. It says South Middle Bush Road Temple site sold for a planned 60,000 square foot Islamic center. And it's next to Snyder Farm in South
Yeah.
Middle Bush. And that's where we commented about the temple that was going to be built there.
Mm-hmm.
And the temple people sold the land
Wow.
to
Okay.
this Isman. And there's no application yet anyway, but
I
the article
wonder
was
how they could sell it. They probably told them that the residents are welcoming
Yeah.
these things and that
All the residents that area
it's
are against it.
awesome, you know.
This is the
Because the
article.
moment it came out, I've seen petition.
Oh, here's the
Yeah,
article.
yeah, yeah.
Does that article come from a reputable source?
Well, I don't know. I think it might be. It was a byline.
You want to check
But
that
I
out?
used it for my Canal Walk newsletter for January.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the article. Well, show
They
it.
just
I've
seen
seen
it.
it.
I know,
Yeah.
but Jessica might not have seen it. But I know Robin pointed it out also, because that's the flood area. Okay, so that I think completes our comments on building plans. We did intern Rutgers.
Yeah, I looked at it, it's just what I figured it was. It's actually a reverse subdivision. It'll eliminate the lot that has the house on it.
Oh, and then eventually they're gonna do something.
Yeah,
They'll make
because
it-
then there's another lot next to it that has been vacant, and they obviously will want to put up a building there.
Interesting.
So, the community energy plan, I think that's yours?
Yes, so I'm going to do under B, number 1 and 2, because they kind of overlap. Community energy plan, so I have gotten through initiative number 7 from what everyone has sent me. So, a lot of work done. It does take a long time everything you guys have sent me has been excellent. And it just takes time to get it all down and put the graphics in and the data. So we're through number 7. I continue to keep, plugging away, so that's what I'm doing.
I'm glad you reminded me. One of my areas was to become an energy hub. Well, I called Vince Dominic, and he said, no way, because it talks about tax incentives and rebates and that kind of stuff. And Dominic says, we don't do that. Now, it does say we could do an energy fair, but
Yeah,
it's...
I'd have to look at it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but
That's
yeah,
what-
no, that's,
So that's where I went to,
Yeah.
And no, we can't do that.
okay.
Rebate, you said?
Well, they wanted, the energy plan had a paragraph about an energy hub where you would attract companies that are doing green energy to come and operate here in Franklin Township as offices or laboratories or whatever. And it talked about giving subsidies or tax incentives.
Oh.
And when Vince heard that, he said, no,
Because we want to have warehouses.
we wouldn't want to. Yes, I'm not going down that road right now.
All right.
It's cluttered with tractor trailers.
So, okay, so the
Go
community
ahead.
energy plan, so like I said, I'm through number 7, it's gonna take some time, but still plugging away. The micro-mobility study, so the last time we spoke, I was waiting for a second quote. We did get the first quote from Gable Associates to do the micro-mobility study back at the beginning of November is when we got it. We do have the $10,000 grant from the community energy plan that we can use for the micromobility study. So Gable gave us a really good proposal, basically saying that they could identify, they would first look through all of our corridors, our potential micromobility corridors in the township, and then kind of hone in on one priority area and give us recommendations about types of micromobility that we could implement, including our trails, including our paved paths, and with a focus on equity, so making sure that we're really being equitable. We have to have 2 quotes, so I did reach out to one of our Trails Committee members, works for a transportation agency, and I asked him to give me some recommendations. So the group I ended up contacting is NV5, and they have done work for the county, they've done work for a lot of municipalities in the past. They're transportation engineers and environmental engineers. They gave me this quote today, so I have to start off by saying that I've read this once only, so I have to bear with me a little bit. They have come up with a proposal also to use the $10,000 grant that we have. And what they plan to do is that they will develop a planning level micromobility concept plan with a focus on connecting Hamilton Business District with DeMont Lane. So they immediately have, this is what we would focus on, connecting Hamilton to DeMont Lane at the municipal building and library. The study would include recommendations for 2 alternative routes connecting the Hamilton Business District and DeMont Lane. They will map the 2 routes and provide design guidance for pedestrian and low-stress bicycle facilities, drawing from the NJDOT Complete Streets Guide and the Somerset County Walk, Bike, Hike Plan. These alternatives are anticipated to avoid high-stress arterials such as Hamilton, Amwell, Easton Avenue. The proposed concepts will work within the constraints of existing curbs and drainage and build on recommendations in the recently completed Franklin Township circulation plan. That part I really like because they really went through our circulation plan update, which was just done in 2021, so that was good. Among the 2 alternatives, they will propose appropriate locations for a bike share parking hub. The guidance, so they go on, let me move forward. What we would get from this is maps and recommendations as a booklet or as large format plots, depending on our preference. Maps and recommendations will be annotated for clarity. They have included time for 3 online status meetings. These online meetings would take place in the beginning, the kickoff, the initial draft, which is about halfway through, and then right before the final. And so that is their proposal, and that would be for the $10,000. So 3 meetings, a specific corridor which they've identified, and then all the mapping, annotation, and imagery. To refresh your memory from Gable, they had talked about what they would do for the $10,000, which is, I just want to read to you so that you can compare the 2. They would review our documents, our planning documents, meet with local staff and government officials, do a demographic analysis, and then look at the current bike, pedestrian, and micromobility assets in Franklin Township. An example they provided is the DeMont Lane walking path, although they don't reference doing it on DeMont Lane specifically. They would then identify opportunities and gaps in transportation, and then they would focus on 1 corridor. And that implementation plan would include a project estimate, description of municipal actions necessary. That could include procurement requirements or zoning changes, infrastructure installation, vehicle route guidance, an estimate of greenhouse gas reductions, and public outreach guidance. So, these 2 proposals.
See, I just want to get the name
NV5.
down.
Oh, that's
for
not
the
that
minutes.
one. Here, you take this one. That's from Christine. So, these 2 proposals are similar because they're obviously have been asked to focus on the same project. They're different in 2 big ways. So the first one is that the NV5 proposal has a very specific idea in mind, and the thing that I like is that they've referenced our own circulation update, which was done in Franklin in 2021. Gable has more of like a flexible approach, and the one thing that they do that NV5 doesn't do is they mention that they would give us estimates on greenhouse gas reduction. So both are good, both can do it for the $10,000. We can work with either, I think, and still get a great product. What I need to do now is, because we have the 2 proposals, is I'd like to get the recommendation from the Environmental Commission about which you think is the better direction to go in, so that I can then, get the approval to move forward with it and hire one of the
Where is
companies.
NV5 headquartered?
NV5 is headquartered in, I know they have a Bridgewater office, I don't know if that's where their headquarters is, but I had a meeting
I
with a
just
direct
wonder
person.
how far are the people?
Oh,
Because
no, I had a meeting with a direct person in
Yeah.
Bridgewater.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, so no, and they've
List
done a lot
an
of work.
address in Parsippany.
Yeah, that's probably where their headquarters is.
Okay.
They've done a lot of work for the county. They actually just did a big project for using NJTPA funding, the Transportation Planning Authority. Both companies are very, very qualified, So I think either one's okay to go with. Like I said, the NV5, the thing I like is they've come with a plan already, and they know Franklin because they've referenced our documents.
the corridor will be through Burger Street, I bet.
don't
Burger
know.
Street is parallel with that.
Possible. Their idea is that the connection of Hamilton Street to DeMont Lane would be the best way to increase safety while being equitable and being able to have a hub and a bike share. Gable is more energy focused, I think, and they've referenced the ability to reduce greenhouse gases. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't go back and say, hey, NV5, we need you to do a greenhouse gas reduction. I'm sure that we could figure that out.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now. The $10,000 grant was for doing the community energy plan. Because we don't need that, we can use that money to do the micromobility study, but we do have to get going on it. So I'd like to make a recommendation.
I might have missed some of what you said. Did you say they're looking at some kind of bike path down Hamilton Street that would connect all the way down to DeMont?
Yeah.
It might not have to be a bike path, so NV5, their plan or their proposal is that they really want to look at how to connect Hamilton Street to DeMont Lane. And that
Well,
may
Hamilton
include
Business District.
Hamilton Business District.
Yeah.
That may include a bike share hub or bike path connection. It might include, striping. It might include, we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but their focus area is the connection of Hamilton Business District to the municipal building, basically. Gable also is going to be doing the same thing. However, they have not said specifically that they want to look at the connection of Hamilton Business District to DeMont Lane. They're saying, we'll give you a few ideas and you let us know which one you think you might want to work on. It could be connecting Amwell Road to Easton Ave. It could be connecting New Brunswick train station to...
When you say connecting in what way?
Connecting through micromobility, so not a motor vehicle, so through bike, walking, bike share, ride share, any kind
So
of...
Hamilton Street does go, if you keep going down towards DeMont, it does get to DeMont.
It does, but not in a safe or efficient way.
Understood.
Right. This is looking at how to connect those in a way that's anti-stress, safety, and also gives multiple alternatives of transportation instead of just, driving your car or instead of just biking, because not everyone might own their own bike. So different alternatives. So that's really what the whole micromobility focus is. So that's kind of their thought of that corridor.
Has the Hamilton Street Development Authority, or whatever they're called, have they been involved in this at all?
Not yet, no. If we were to go with they would absolutely be involved. If we were to go with that corridor, Hamilton Business District. If for some reason we chose Gable, say, for example, and they came up with a different corridor in Franklin Township, then we wouldn't, we would not include Hamilton.
Well, it seems to me that Hamilton Business District to Middlebush is the logical place
Yeah, I agree with
to
you.
study. So Gable would spend more effort on researching a variety of routes and then come up very likely with Hamilton Business District or the Mont Lane. We wouldn't get as much of an in-depth proposal because they put effort into looking
I agree.
all over the place.
I agree
So,
with you.
and if you're willing to accept that it would be that somehow that corridor, and they say they want to avoid going right along Hamilton Street. They could go Burger, but then the only other way really of going through to
Cutting.
DeMont Lane is on Magnolia.
Yeah.
Unless somehow you can connect up through the Sampson G.
Yes,
Smith School
yes,
property.
that-
There might be, there is a path back there that you can, so we have asked them to please also look at all of our existing paths, like the DeMont Lane walking path. So we don't know what they're gonna, and also, it's not also just like the actual physical connection, it's also looking at what types of connections. So they reference like a bike hub share. I don't know where they will think of putting that, but that might be a great idea, you know? I mean, when we did our local health assessment, one of the main, not one of, I will say the main comment we received is that people feel like getting around Franklin, if you don't have a car, is very difficult. So having those bike share programs, or I don't really know honestly what the other, you know, recommendations might be, but it'd be interesting to find out. One thing I also like that NV5 said is that they would look at where the existing curbs are. So they're not gonna propose like, hey, rip out this curb, redo this entire street. It's kind of working with what we have in place, which I think is nice.
Coming to DeMont, I thought, is because the library is here. And if you've got, you know, that's another asset, not particularly this building, but the library is a.
Well, but
is a big
also
deal.
think too, if you can get to DeMont Lane, you can get to the municipal building, you can get to the senior center, you can get to the post office, all these areas. You can
The
also
theater.
walk straight up to Easton Ave if you want, and you
you
can walk up, it's a long walk, but you can get there, you can get to Middle Bush Park.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you
Yeah,
know,
that
there's a
makes
lot of
sense.
opportunities, yeah.
that makes sense.
It kind of does make a lot of sense, I think, so.
Isn't there some kind of a Somerset County bus system that
There
goes
is.
certain routes?
They don't stop in Franklin. So that's the interesting thing. That was brought up. It's
Do
Scoot
they
and
pass
Dash.
through?
They pass through, but they do not stop. So they stop in South Bound Brook, and they also stop in Somerville and Bridgewater and Manville, but they don't stop in
And do we have an
Franklin.
explanation, and can we speak to them about that?
That could,
That
that is,
would be-
that would be part,
huge.
it would be huge. That
If
would
you
be
had-
part of
If
the
if you had
plan.
bus stops for
Yep.
the county thing,
Yep.
on JFK, on DeMont,
Yeah.
those are main
Yeah.
roadways to get from Euston Avenue to Hamilton Street.
Yeah, for sure.
I-
That would all be part of, that would be a discussion point in this plan as well.
I have seen county bus at the parking, well, at the 9/11, Veronica and Hamilton.
So the county does run a program where you can call for a scheduled ride if you are in need. But from my understanding of speaking to people during the local health assessment, it's very difficult to get that, and it's by appointment only. So there's no actual stop, like where you as a person of the public can get on the bus.
I would think that as Franklin being, from my understanding, the largest town in Somerset County, and we have the director of the Somerset County Committee, used to be the Freeholders, was a Franklin mayor, is a Franklin resident. I think we need to bring them, if not already, if it hasn't already been done, bring it into discussion, because they always talk about, you know, and I'm going to get into a little bit of politics here. They talk about how, with elections, how Franklin goes, so goes the county when it comes to elections. And, you know, if that's true, the committee, the freeholders, I hate to call them the freeholders, the commissioners, that's what it was, commissioners, thank you. You know, I think they should be looking at us in a way that, you know, we shouldn't be the stepchild. We should be treated a little bit better. And I'm not asking for something special. I'm looking for, they're not stopping in Franklin, the largest town in Somerset County.
It might be, I'm wondering if it's like a safety issue, if they don't have the right, if there's not like an appropriate place where they can stop in a safe manner, like Easton Ave, for example, maybe they can't, because it's not like a public transit bus, it's a small
It's like a
passenger.
I've always assumed, and incidentally, I saw it the other day, actually in South Brunswick Township, in the Kendall Park Shopping Center, that had stopped there for, you know, probably for the driver to get a cup of coffee,
Right.
but so they got that far over. I've always assumed, I mean, this system was set up quite a few years ago when Somerset County, except for Franklin, was thoroughly Republican. And there was probably may well have been a deliberate decision to serve the Republican towns and not Franklin. And as you say, now the shoe is on the other foot and we should ask for service.
We can definitely
And it
ask for
wouldn't be
service.
special service, it should be just.
We can ask for service, but the good news is about having a micro-mobility plan like this and the fact that we updated our circulation plan in 2021, we then have backing to go to the county as well and say, based on data, we definitely need a stop here. And look, here's a place that's been identified where you could have a stop. So it kind of takes the guesswork out of it, you know?
Isn't there at least one bus stop, I believe, on Eastern Avenue?
There is, but I'm not sure why I don't know what the reason is why there's not a stop. All I could assume, I would hope, is that the Easton Avenue stop is not appropriate for that bus to stop at for a safety reason, or it's not. I don't know what the reason
That
would
would be surprising considering those buses stop on like Route 1.
They do, but this is not like a it's almost like he
It's
said
a
like a
mini,
jitney.
it's a mini bus.
Yeah, it's not like a real passenger bus, so I don't know if there's
But there
different
are appropriate
requirements
signage and
or.
such.
But there are,
Yeah.
there are strip malls in places where,
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
road, where, and I would think, you know, whether you have to get permission from the owners of the strip malls, I would think it would be pretty easy, because they want people being
Right.
picked up or dropped off there,
Yeah.
because it helps them bring people to their malls, and then they can go up the Mott, and that takes you right to the municipal building.
Yeah.
And they can take you up JFK, and
Yeah.
it takes you up to Hamilton Street, and you can make a left into the Hamilton
And
Street.
JFK are actually abandoned bus stops, at least at the
Yeah.
intersection with Burger. There's
Okay,
a-
okay,
and
so
it
there's
says
something
NJ
there.
Transit, you know, it's
Okay.
functional.
I mean, that's something
bus
that would be part of this study, for sure. That would be one of the micro-mobility alternatives I am sure that they will recommend, is that we need bus service. I'm sure that that's not even a question, so.
Well, I have a couple of maps that come from when I went to the Central Jersey Transportation Forum
Oh, yeah, you sent them to me.
that I
Yeah.
sent to Tara, which were, I believe, New Jersey Transit ideas for bus lines, and I've never known whether, and one of them was mostly in Franklin, it would wind up actually going to Randolph Road, so it could take people from Canal Walk and Summerfields.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was planned and it never went through. Maybe that's what it.
Suburban Transit used to run like one morning bus and one evening bus from JFK Boulevard. I think that got dropped during COVID
I can
and
look it
has
up.
never come back.
You know, we have the whole, there's an Eastern Avenue study, as everybody knows, there's an Eastern
Yeah.
Avenue study going on right now.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the most dangerous roads reportedly, forget if it's in the county, the state, or whatever it is. And if you have bus service, that might help alleviate some of the individual, you know, motor vehicles on those roads.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. So in terms of these proposals though, does anyone have like a gut, like, yes, I really like this one better, what I just told you, or?
I'm slightly in favor of NV5,
Yeah.
but that's more for diversity because we have already existing. I'm not aware of NV5. It's new for me.
Okay.
But Gable Associates, I know that
Yeah.
we have business with them. So
NV5 is a very reputable company. They've done a lot. I kind of like their proposal a little bit better because I think they came with more of a direct approach, which I like, but I would be happy with I think the other one's okay too, but I like that. I think they kind of did more homework in terms of Franklin specific needs. That's what I think.
I can't comment on those documents, I just think that we need to really look into the bus routes
Yeah.
in Franklin.
Well, that'll be
Say-
part of the study, but we need to hire the consultant to do the study, so so we do need to pick somebody, and then, but I agree with you, that the bus route 100% will be included in the study. And it'll be great, because when we talk to the county, we can say, you know,
Yeah.
we've studied it, and there's a need for it, and it's feasible, you know, so.
Coach USA doesn't have anything they don't have anything currently,
Yeah,
and that's the one that's around.
it's odd,
right?
yeah, it is odd. Interestingly enough, so I have seen, and I can't comment on this too much, only because I saw this on the road, but I think I'm correct in saying that Canal Walk has a like a
We
jitney.
have 2 jitneys.
You do, and that's great, I think that's wonderful, and that's great, but if you don't have access to such a thing, then that's where the disconnect
Well,
is.
That
the-
jitney is just for trips.
I'm just,
Right.
the
not
jitneys
for-
aren't used for local
Like,
commuting.
no, right.
But people do
Right.
call the Somerset,
Right.
some bus will pick up people to go to the doctors and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I've seen
Yes.
that in our place.
And that's the
does
thing that you
happen,
have to
yes.
have an appointment
Yes.
for.
But the jitneys, like we went into New York City, and we took the jitney.
Right,
Or they went to
Got it.
Pennsylvania, maybe they took both jitneys.
Yeah.
One holds 22 people, and I think one holds maybe 26, something like that. It's in that ballpark. But one needs.
so that's the
replacement.
kind of thing, that's micromobility, but it's serving a specific community,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. We're looking at a larger
Well,
scale.
There's 2,000 people living in Canal Walk.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, I love it. I think it's great, and I hope we can get it all over the place, you know?
So, okay. So do you want us to have a vote here, which one to pick? or- I mean,
It would
we
be
do-
helpful.
Do we have authority, or how much power do we have in? if we
Well, so
decide?
I'm gonna bring the proposals to the township manager, and I would like to say that I've presented them to the environmental commission, and they really are feeling this one, or they are content with both, you know, I mean, it's the same price, so we can't go on price, it's the
When,
same.
When do we need to make a decision?
I mean, I'd like to do it now, because I wanna move on it while I can, you know?
I mean, we're just making a recommendation.
It's a recommendation, and in all honesty, I will say this, I really think whichever one we pick, it's not like one is so much better than the other, that if we don't pick number one, we're gonna get this terrible product. I think we're gonna get really good results with either one.
So do we want to like have a poll, or?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So.
Tara, before you have the poll, I mean, I just don't know enough about both of them, so I'm just.
Neither of us.
I'm just asking you which one, if you have one that you think is better than
Well,
the
she said
others.
that.
I thought from reading both proposals, I preferred the NV5 proposal, because I thought that
Is it
NV, like,
Or
yeah,
Nevada.
yes, like Nevada. Yeah.
This is it.
Victor.
Yeah, I can read that.
Victor.
I like that one, not because I like either company better, I'm aware of both companies. I like that proposal better, just on reading that proposal, because I think they are really hyper-focused on a specific problem in Franklin, and I think that's what we were looking for. If I was to say which one met the criteria, I would say that one.
Well, and I'm thinking that Tara's our consultant or lead in this, and I don't see any reason to go against that.
Yeah, I trust
No,
that.
and that's why I asked.
That's why-
I would go along with what Tara said, but if you
But
want,
you can go
I
with
mean,
that.
everybody else might
I
not
won't
feel
be
the
mad.
same way.
Well, I've
trust you.
given my reasons why I would prefer the NV5.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it sounds
same.
like we have,
Okay,
Walter, you.
An agreement.
Yeah, it can be fine.
Okay, I
Okay.
think you just got the.
all right, so I'll let the
Give it a
manager
nod,
know.
then.
I'll let the manager know, and then basically the next step is, as soon as we can get the consultant on board, as long as that's the one that the township approves, because we're recommending, not
Okay.
approving, of course.
So,
As long as we can do that, then they can actually start doing the work, which will be really great.
so I move that we recommend NV5.
Okay.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay.
discussion.
Thank you so much.
Discussed.
So I will let you all know how it moves forward, and once they can start doing this project, I think it's gonna be a really, really great project. And the other cool thing about it is it's money that we got for doing something that we didn't need the money for, and we can actually use it now for something that we really do
good.
need,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Jessica.
Do they sort of give a duration for the study?
They didn't put the duration in there, so the grant money has to be done in like the next 6 to 8 months. Now, Sustainable Jersey though did did say that if we were going to embark on something like this, they could be a little more flexible with us. So I would think within a year at the maximum, but it's gonna be, we're studying 1 quarter, so it should be less than that, so. But the quicker I can get going, the better.
Okay, you got to
Yeah.
promptly go
It
ahead.
seems, it seems to me MV5 is a little more of a planning firm, whereas Gable is an electric firm, an energy firm. I mean, their application, their bid has a lot about their work with electric vehicles.
Renewable energy and like energy aggregation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that
And
even in the,
the consultant for the, energy aggregation, so.
okay. Well, let's
I think
move on.
this is sort of out on the edge of their
Yeah.
expertise.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
So Tara, you've got
Got it.
authorization.
I'm on it, yeah.
Okay.
The next thing on this list is C, update of the green infrastructure projects at Neiman Williams Park.
I don't really have much of an update on that, except that we continue to work on it.
There was some comments at one of the meetings I was at, where there was, that the garden that we had is really in disrepair.
Oh,
And needs a lot
yeah.
of-
That's
lot of-
outside of the scope of the grant, but it is true that that garden, now my understanding though is that is going to be being worked on.
Yeah.
The trouble was Chuck Martin was working on it, and Chuck Martin has moved to
Yeah.
Montclair.
Ah, That's a long commute.
Yeah,
Okay, so then we'll move on to site plan, this is the letter, this is what you talked to him about.
Yes.
About giving us some
Yep.
leeway to what's going on.
so at the last meeting, we talked a lot more about, when we do site plan review, if it's a resubmission, a lot of times the developer or the applicant will not, write anything that says, I changed this. So we basically have to go through everything again and compare our last plans to the new plans first. So for example, if they submit a plan that say we're taking down 100 trees, and then they're told we want you to save more trees, then they come back and say, okay, well, we're gonna only take down 75. In order for us to do that, unless they tell us they've changed it, we have to go through our old memo, the plans, the new plans. It just takes a long time. So,
And sometimes they'll make changes, none of the changes
Yes.
will not have any environmental
Right.
consequences.
that is true. Sometimes they make other changes and they don't say what they
Yeah.
did. So I met with Mark Healy, our township planner, and I went into detail with him. He agreed that this should be something that's done. We originally said, I guess we need to amend the ordinance to do this. His recommendation is that we do not need to amend the ordinance, and he said that from now on, what his staff will do, and he sent it to our engineer, Vince Dominack, and the secretary for planning. In every report that goes out from now on, they're gonna have a blurb in there. And it's going to say that in subsequent plan submittals will be accompanied by a written description of changes made compared to the prior submission. Preferably, this would be accomplished by providing a response to each of the review comments with a description of the plan changes and where the plan changes can be found, example sheet number. If the plans have not been revised in response to a comment, the reason should be provided. The number of copies of this written description should be commensurate with the number of revised plans. So he told Christine, who's the planning and zoning secretary, the engineer, and he asked that we use the same blurb, which we're fine. So in site plan review committee, we have a list of blurbs, they're called. And basically, we kind of use them for standard language. So I will put this in the standard language. And so in every report that goes out of our office, planning or zoning, it will basically say you need to submit a letter that shows what you revised, what page it's on, and if you didn't make the revision, why. And that's gonna really help everybody out, and then doing it that way does not require an ordinance amendment. If we start putting this out and just no one responds to it, then we can think about doing an ordinance amendment, but when it comes in a report, people usually do address it, because it's there that you have to address
This is
it.
gonna help the planning board and the technical review staff also.
Absolutely.
It'll point out, zero in on what the changes were.
Tara, I would just like to commend this commission for getting this done, because this
Yep.
is something we've been talking about for over 20 years.
Yeah, I agree.
And this commission, and especially you, Tara, for your follow-up on
Thank
this.
you. Yes, great.
Because really, we've wanted this for so long.
Good.
And it's, you know, finally something is getting done, because it's gonna save a lot of time for a lot of people.
I think, yeah, thank you,
I
Arnie,
think
for
the-
saying that. I
yeah.
think it's all, you know, everyone wanted this, and he really was, I gotta say, he was very receptive to it, so.
They, you know, it's something that we've been after, but it will help everybody.
It's gonna really help. It's going to help so much. And even when we present it to the committee, it's like gonna just be a huge relief, so.
Okay.
So that's gonna be
The
us
main thing
going
is it'll
forward.
make it easy for us to find the changes that we should look at
Yes.
in a revised plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Okay. The next item is report from the subcommittees. Stan, you're the representative of the Education Committee. Do you have anything? You wanna
Yes, so.
Bring the rest of it up to date on what you've done. with
Yes,
this.
I'm kind of reporting on behalf of Maria because she gets pretty good credit for that. So, I had something to report for the previous meeting, which was cancelled. So regarding the educational committee, so we met in Franklin High School with the educational club. No, wait a second. Yeah, environmental club.
Right.
The environmental club. So that was me, Maria, Claire Paul from Watershed,
The watershed ambassador,
right?
yeah?
There were like 6, 7 teachers and 3 students.
Mm.
So, and it was led by Ron Brondich, a teacher. Very excited about the environment and everything. They had lots of ideas about what they want to accomplish as an organization and how to engage their students. So we communicated about our intention to have 2 students to be part of an environmental commission, and non-voting members. Like, oh yes, okay. Then we talked about the movies. We presented to them that we can. We have a master list. We gave them we passed them the master list for the films, and we offered that when they have film screening in the afternoon, that based on our availability, we can, somebody from the environmental commission can come and to be part of the discussion, to answer questions. So which we could then choose based on as needed basis or whoever is an availability basis. And then Claire, she was discussing the proposed project that it's essentially kind of curriculum. It's about saving water. It's a project where the students they look into water faucets and all the water dispensing equipment. They read the labels, how much is it rated to dispense water, and they can propose modifications to save water.
Mm-hmm.
It could be water aerator. These are the cheapest, about $1 per piece. To changing faucets, to modifying flushing in the bathrooms. And they can also bring it home and do individual assessment at homes, and students can kind of compete. So we didn't hear whether they were adopted or not, but we presented it. I also went to the Board of Ed meeting on November 16th. I presented about the 2 student positions. They said, okay, fine, just talk to Dr. Solomon. I will say, okay, well, we already spoke to Franklin Environmental Club. So
These would be high school kids.
yeah, so they don't feel like they need to be involved.
Oh.
I thought that they wanted, but looks like they would rather directly delegate. Oh yes, and I was also talking about the stream cleanup for both. Okay, and they're definitely excited. We will have April 13th and Saturday, just like we always have. I also told them about Eileen school buses, but I think that was more from my viewpoint of electric vehicle advocate. Right, so, and then we had meeting with Joel Painson, from the youth center. That was virtual, a very energetic guy. And it looks like it would be maybe the best to recruit the 2 students from that organization, because they have student council, and it includes students from all high schools in the township, including the charter school and some Rutgers prep. At that meeting was present student Rishi. She copied? No, I don't think so.
What organization was this?
Arushi.
From the youth center,
Youth Center. Okay.
Yes.
on
the-
Lewis Street.
Got it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and he sent the meeting minutes, thank you, blah, blah, blah. In regard to how we plan to move forward with implementing the Franklin Township Environmental Commission with youth councils, education, and youth community committees.
They have a lot more to do lately with the middle school rather than high school, so it's good to hear they want to.
Yeah, so
We were after them to get
definitely
more high
told them that we are targeting high school. Now, they had very good comments. So we suggested that it would be, the appointment would be 1 year, right? Calendar year. Well, for schools, it's much better when it's,
September to June.
That makes sense.
so I think that whatever we decide now will be terminated in June, and then they will come up with another, and whether our council needs to approve, I don't know. For regular adult members, the council is doing it in January, right? Do you think that council would have to do the students as well?
You can appoint council, or you can appoint members to boards or commissions at any township meeting. The mayor can do it, and the council.
Mm-hmm.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But
The thing I need to know is, do we need to amend our ordinance to allow for it, or if they're non-voting,
They're not voting. They're not
could they
voting.
technically be considered like a volunteer? But I
Well,
don't
we
know.
are volunteers.
We've all volunteers.
But there's a different format, like there's just
Yeah,
let me ask and see how to do it, but.
Associates.
I think we can take it kind of easy with the students.
I mean,
Okay.
what about, how does the interns work? We
They're
just,
considered volunteers,
Yeah.
so they sign a volunteer,
they're about to sign some sort of waiver.
waiver, but they don't have to be appointed. If they're a member of a commission and they're appointed by the mayor, then
But the interns, they're more like a
they're like a
labor.
volunteer. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
As
free
opposed to
labor.
we have maybe some decisions.
Yeah, we have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, appointment is relatively easy. I mean, it's not,
What Canal Walk does, we feed the youth center
So,
once a month.
Yeah, and we told them that they should, Joel, he should come at least to our meeting. He couldn't come today because he wants first present, debrief what we have done at their meeting, which is after this meeting. And then they want to come for the 18th.
Oh, fine.
got it.
Okay,
Okay,
so they'll come for the 18th.
great.
And yeah, they feel like they want to be the one who will suggest those 2 students.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
That works.
whoever will be suggested and we like them, we can approve them, so.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
I
if we-
think the point of having what I put down board, but what did you call it? Having a group of students drawn from all township schools.
Yeah, I like that too.
Makes it logical. And therefore, you'd be starting with a group who are already involved and active.
Yes,
So I think it would be good to draw from such a group.
yeah.
Yeah, he was very enthusiastic when I met him about it. When I told him who I was, and we got to talking right away.
He typed the minutes.
Huh?
He typed the minutes.
He typed them in. Oh.
Yeah, I was in front of the computer, I was barely listening, and he was,
He's doing the minutes.
so it was very efficient, so.
Yeah.
I like it.
The youth center is part of Parks and Recreation. That's how it's
Yeah.
Wendy Williams.
Yeah, so they will probably suggest the senior students to be there. The first students, Connor's current seniors, they will graduate in June, right? So that's why we want to appoint someone who is maybe currently senior, but then starting from September, they will come up with someone else. And that would be one full year.
That works.
So.
It's a good way to get started also.
And speaking of timing, so they would prefer that the students will be here for the first hour. We try to focus our agenda such that they will be mostly needed for the first hour, and then just, go nicely.
They got homework to
home,
do.
So, I mean, we have working hours, maybe Jessica could comment. We should stop in 8 minutes, so. So I think in the interest of time, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So there was quite a bit of progress, partly because we skipped meeting.
So do you want me to follow up then and see what the process is, either appointing or?
Yes, we want to make sure that we can go kind of with the school year.
Okay.
And of course, non-voting, 1 year appointment, and
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Jessica, anything from the Communications Committee?
Just that we're at our quarterly review of the website. I do have that, Maria was saying she wanted her bio updated.
Oh, yes, I sent that in.
Okay, perfect. And so I invite all of you to take a look.
Okay.
Welcome your feedback. Please just get it to me before the next meeting so that we can try and get everything in.
Okay.
Slowly, we will chip away at all of our edits.
Okay. The other committee is the Energy
Actually,
Committee.
I have an inquiry about the communication. Do we have any update about what we submitted to Franklin Times? No more, Save the Mo for Earth Day? Like, are we expected to have any feedback? Like?
No, it was submitted and I know it's
They
being worked on.
acknowledged it?
Acknowledged it, it'll be
Okay.
definitely published, so.
Okay.
Okay.
It'll probably be a point at which we submitted a printed draft to, check for
Right,
typos.
okay. Galley proof. Is it?
Yeah, galley proof, yeah.
And, oh yes, for the films, it kind of went to kind of depth, no communication.
Yeah.
How do we want to proceed?
I don't know. It's up to, well, I think it was the communications committee was gonna discuss how to proceed, I think, and let us know. That was the last.
It came from the education.
Or education committee, yeah.
Education, and then we brought in with Montgomery and with Hillsborough, and then this is our availability, this is their availability, and now to merge it, it's like nobody's available together.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking whether we should maybe change the strategy and maybe take it as a coalition. And each town could make maybe, to suggest a movie, find a venue, book the time, pick a movie, and then invite everyone from the 3 towns. And not necessarily be bound by availability of commission members from the other towns. Because if we want to have commission members availability for 3 towns, it's like, what is this?
Yeah. And we can also do it just for Franklin, that's the other option,
I mean,
so, yeah.
Yeah, so we would say, okay, this is our And we would give them notice, hey, Montgomery, you can invite your residents, they can
yeah.
come.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
Hillsborough, you can come. You know, we have space, hopefully.
And then if Hillsborough do the same thing, they could invite us.
Yes, they can invite us. And the thing is that we are not requiring that we have, the commissions have to have mutual availability. It's more about availability of the individual residents. Because it's, are they interested in the subject? Are they available, right?
Yeah,
So,
makes sense. I would say then that the education committee, I guess, should come up with the next movie we're gonna watch for sure, and
we did, we just thought that we want to have it projected in Montgomery, and then we told Montgomery, we are only available this day, these days, these days, and so I'm thinking whether we should maybe say, okay, we'll project it maybe here, or just give Montgomery the freedom and they say, you know, just you pick the date and let us know.
yeah, whatever works for you guys, I can help you out with.
What do you think? I mean,
It's the only way you're gonna solve the date calendar thing, because the calendars are different, everybody's got different dates,
Yeah,
for meetings and all that kind of
You
stuff.
also, to some degree, have to accept that you're never gonna make everyone happy with some of this
That's
stuff.
true.
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain degree of just like, we need to do when we think is right, and, you know,
I mean, we brought them the idea,
yeah.
and we'll play however it goes.
okay. So if we agree, I can follow up with what's her name in Montgomery?
Lauren
Lauren.
Woslowski, yeah.
Yeah, I should remember by now.
That's okay.
And in Hillsborough, that's Jennifer or?
I forget because she came on after I started working with Lauren, so yeah, I don't.
Robin brought her in.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Francis.
I'm sure I can find it.
Last
Yeah.
name Francis. Well, can you find out as well? So yeah, I think it would be maybe better to do it that way and give our residents more options. You want to see this movie here, or you want to see that movie in Montgomery or in Hillsborough? I assume it will be free.
Yeah.
That's the
For
catch.
sure. Yeah.
You will not get free popcorn, right?
Right.
But by the way, popcorn is cheap.
It is.
We
Yes.
could actually offer popcorn. I don't know who would be paying actually for it.
When it's so genetically modified, you need
We,
to.
Janet, we have to remind Mark that we have to pay our inject dues. I saw a letter somewhere, it's $400 and something
Got it.
to inject. That letter came out.
Okay.
Okay.
Amongst my papers, I couldn't
So-
find the actual letter, but I saw it.
So I'm gonna make a note and I will follow up with Montgomery and Hillsborough.
Okay. Sounds good.
And so do we then want to have a screening in our library?
Yeah, I guess we would.
It's easy for us.
Yeah, we can just do it in our library. Maybe we'll start off that way, and then we can send them the flyer. And if they want to invite people, then they can.
Okay. Okay.
You know, there was a room in the, I still think of it as the Consolata buildings, set up for movie showings, because I remember back when the township was turning it over to the Board of Education, the manager asked council members for suggestions about what facilities should the township retain in the building. I never got around to recommending to the manager that we retain the ability to show movies in that facility. I don't know whether the facility is still functional, but it's another possible place to show movies. It would be a little more central for Hillsborough and Montgomery, actually,
That's true.
if it's available.
Yeah, and as I was at the meeting of Board of Ed, that room is big and it certainly accommodates more people than our library. And maybe we have even extended hours. Well, at least library has limit on hours.
Yeah.
Because the later we can start, then maybe the more audience we can get.
Yeah.
Because people are
Yeah.
not available earlier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me, who would be the person to check about the Consolata building?
Well, because I don't know whether the township retained an interest in that room or whether it's completely, you probably start at the Board of Ed. If there's
Nancy
somebody
Laporte.
who's in
Fine.
charge.
Mary Clark or?
Or Bill Drippo or somebody?
You may just have to ask who you know and let them figure out who
Oh,
knows
Ravelli?
about it.
Ravelli?
Well, the Board of Ed is Nancy LaCourte, right?
Not anymore. I think it's.
She's not the president anymore?
She's on the board.
Oh, she's on. Oh,
She's still on the board.
so she didn't run for she's there. She wasn't one of the people up for election.
No.
this time.
Right.
She's been the president for a long time.
Yes.
Not as long as you
She was on and off, wasn't she?
No, whether or not she was formally president, she was
Yeah. long
the
time.
power on the Board of Ed for most of them. I don't know, seemed like about 20 years.
Okay. The last thing on new business is hot topics. Environmental legislation, regulation, news, policy, anything. Is there anything that anybody wants to bring up?
Well, Governor Murphy just signed an executive order, I think it's 552, regarding environmental justice. He's saying that, across the board, there's going to be training that it will be done this way, and there's some EJ training put on by Somerset County tomorrow that will probably sort of bring people up to speed, but I think it would behoove us to be on top of that. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of money behind that.
I want to say, thank you, Walter, that's,
You might have also noticed that Governor Murphy signed a law that starting from 2035, you cannot buy new gasoline vehicle.
yes,
Yes,
I did
yeah.
see that.
So
Of course, he won't be governor. then.
Right.
I think it's better to first set it up and then
Oh, yeah.
let it break year by year than wait and not to do anything. California, they had to already postpone. I think they set the goal 2030 and they pushed back. But it's better to start somewhere.
There is another rule that makes them up in Jersey, it's already done, some of the other states, to ban the sale of mercury-containing lamps in 2026, 2025, somewhere within the next 2-3 years. So everything will have to be LEDs.
These things last so long.
They do?
I just went through my closet and I still found functional
Oh,
fluorescent
yeah.
bulbs. And I have stack of LEDs.
It's funny you mentioned that. I didn't bring it, I'll bring it one way. I have a thing like this, about this big. It's white and it's got a screen and a plug in the back. You plug it in and it lights up green. And I got that, somebody built it for me in 1967. And it still works. It's got some black spots where the fluorescence died, but I lit it up the other day.
Wow.
As a young engineer, I came in and this fellow who was getting near retirement had all the stuff in his drawer and he put it together and he gave it to me.
Just, can I just follow up real quick on what Walter said? So the meeting tomorrow, the Somerset, bless you.
Thank you.
The environmental justice, it's a community engagement session, and DEP Commissioner Sean LaTourette will be there. It is going to be at Bound Brook High School, and it is at, hold on, tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's also going to be live streamed though.
Yeah.
So if you want to attend, you can also do a Zoom.
I would love to be there, but unfortunately, Electric Vehicle Association scheduled something, and I have a conflict.
That's okay. I mean, if anyone is interested, I can send this website to you.
Yeah,
I mean, you can. It's a live Zoom, so it's like you'll be able to ask questions
It's
and everything.
much
You don't have to
better
be
to-
there.
It's much better to go there. It's right here. So.
Oh, I'm sure it is if you can. But if you can't, you can.
Yeah, I'm registered for the Zoom, and so I'll be
Awesome.
participating.
It's not South Banbrook, it's Banbrook, so you have to cross the bridge, right?
You gotta cross it.
Okay, so it's a little bit further.
The next, now we're into old business.
Before you go there,
Sure.
tomorrow there is, I believe, a meeting in the municipal building right here, 4:30 to 7, about pathway improvements will be discussed, and I think it's the Easton Avenue corridor issue.
Is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow at, tomorrow 4:30 to 7. It's a public meeting.
I
And it's-
remember that. And I didn't register because the EVA meeting was at that time, and they moved it. So technically I could, what time again, Arnie?
4:30 to 7.
It's a long meeting.
Can do 4:30 to 6.
Meetings conflicting tomorrow.
Is it only only in person or
I have not seen anything about,
is it virtual?
I haven't seen anything about virtual.
Oh,
I have a feeling this is gonna be the first of many of these. This is just the very beginning of this whole study.
That's right.
okay. The health assessment, looks like they're getting ready to present that to everybody.
Yeah, so we were supposed to present it on the 28th, it had to be postponed, but we are presenting it on November 12th, I'm sorry, December 12th
Okay.
at the Township Council meeting.
Excuse me, was there a notice sent out that it was canceled?
There was, yeah.
To who?
It was sent out to the steering committee members, it was sent out to all the boards and commissions, and it was sent out, and it was on the website and Facebook, I want to
So
say.
everybody here supposedly got it?
Yes, as far as I understand. I didn't send out that notice, but did you get it or no? I'm guessing no, okay.
I didn't, I had to ask you. I kept getting announcements from the township of the agenda for the council meeting, and I noticed that the
Oh, yeah, you emailed me.
local
Yeah.
health assessment presentation had disappeared from it.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
I
see that
asked-
I didn't see that last one, and I was sitting in the back, and Bob Warnlocker walked in, tapped me on the shoulder and said, Safi can't make it today, so we're postponing it. And that was the first that I heard of.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry, yeah,
No,
no,
it's all right.
yeah, I
There was other
didn't.
stuff to listen to.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's definitely on the 12th at 7 o'clock at the council meeting, for sure, presenting it.
That was an interesting meeting, the town council meeting. It was like 50 people lined up to make comments.
Oh, wow.
That took about an hour. Okay, so that's coming along. I know there's a lot of interest in our community, especially since we
Yeah,
noted.
that's the
that
final
there's-
presentation,
That's
so.
that's what we're waiting for.
And then it'll be good to go, yep.
Now, the next one is the Environmental Stewardship Awards, which obviously we weren't ready to do in November. So
Yes.
When were the plaques?
Yeah,
awarded?
so I reached out to, so Crown Trophy is doing the plaques, they actually
Right.
just got back to me this morning that they're ready.
Oh, they're
So,
ready?
Yeah, so I didn't know, I mean, if you want to pick them up or you want me to pick them up, whatever works. Someone just let me know.
Yeah. Where are they?
Crown Trophy, I think it's in Greenbrook.
Yeah, on 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the address.
When will be the awards presented?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what you're asking me. I asked that they be on for December 12th. Now, I hope that it
December
can
12th. Is
do
there a
December
meeting?
12th.
No, the 18th is the next meeting. 14 days from today.
The council, you mean?
Yeah, town council.
No, the next one is December 12th.
Oh.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
they're
The
when they're
council
having
was
the meeting that
second
was
week of the
canceled.
month.
Yes,
month.
yeah. So I'm hoping that they'll put the Environmental Stewardship Awards on the 12th
Right.
because the local health assessment presentation is on
Right.
there. But that's what I
So
hope.
that's next Monday night then?
Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, because it's town council, not the
Yeah.
ED meeting.
No, Township Council,
So-
yes.
Town council, right,
So
okay.
are we going to announce Lower Raritan, Watershed Partnership that
Yeah.
better be
We can announce
present.
them, yeah, now that that we know the plaques are done, we can, so.
Yeah, let's invite some people to
Well, the
come.
most important thing is to ensure that the awardees can be,
Yeah.
are informed
Right.
and can be.
I haven't
present.
gotten the 100% confirmation yet from Anne Marie, the clerk, that we will be on for the 12th. So as soon as I know, which I'll follow up with her again tomorrow, if we're on the 12th, then I can say, okay, let's announce it and invite people. And if for some reason they couldn't come, we can always make it the next
And
meeting.
we gotta work on a little blurb for each one. Put it together.
Are there 3 or 2?
Two.
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 'Cause I thought I
Awards?
heard that there was the Watershed and then Sarah Malone.
That's it.
and I thought Chris Williams, I thought was in there also, but no. Okay.
No, no. That's actually the first time I heard his name come up as a potential award, but no. So just these two for now.
Yeah.
And the Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership will have annual potluck this Friday. Um, Whoever is interested, available to join me, it would be nice.
Here.
Hmm?
Oh, okay. So, no mow until Earth Day, we've been talking about that for.
I submitted the article,
Right.
it's definitely been accepted, so once I get the proof, I can,
Yeah.
let all of you see it.
Anybody else have some old business they want to bring up? If not, we'll entertain a motion to open the public comment again.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yes.
Talking about this Somerset County bus. So is this the bus that you're talking about that you said takes people to doctors?
I think they're talking about when it would be a regular route.
So the bus we're talking about is called Dash and Scoot. There's two, Dash and Scoot. I know that they stand for something, I don't know if they are off the top of my head. But Dash and Scoot actually run a regular service that goes around Somerset County, and they have designated spots. The county also does offer a service for medical appointments and things like that for people that are in need, but it's by appointment.
Right,
For that
and that
service.
one
That's
was
the one we've
medical.
seen, yeah.
That one, I've talked to people that I know, and that one they said is so, I guess, it has so much need that you cannot get an appointment.
Yes.
So it's only
6 months,
for,
yeah.
like, appointments that are for physicals that you know are gonna be in advance for 6 months. It's not
Yes,
for
we've heard the
appointments like
exact same thing.
physical therapy that you have to go every day, or like, appointment that you wanna make in a month. That's what I was told.
Well, it's
That it's
supposed
so-
to be for even appointments, say you have to go, not just your annual physical, but say you have to go to the doctor for whatever reason.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you, that from what I hear from people who have tried to make appointments with that, it's so in
Overbooked?
need
Yes,
that you can't really get an appointment.
yes, I agree, I'm saying the same thing. Like, the initial purpose is that you're supposed to be able to take it for those reasons, but
Right.
it is so backlogged
Right,
that it's basically impossible, yes.
yes,
Correct, yeah.
and I don't
Sort of
know.
reminds me of Yogi Berra's remark, oh, that place got so popular, nobody goes there anymore.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
so, I guess, so I'm just saying, that's,
High demand.
I've heard about that, it's very high demand.
Yeah.
High demand.
It's like
Oh,
worthless, people have given up trying to get on it because it's so, like you said, why go there when you, and then the other one is what, you take it, to shopping or something like that?
it stops off at designated spots, so it stops off, at shopping centers.
Because my mom
um,
used to take that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was very nice.
Yeah,
She used to go up to Pathmark
yeah,
in, Pathmark in Somerville, now it's not Pathmark.
yes. Now ShopRite,
Yeah, well,
right? Yeah.
the Dash line, I don't know who runs it, but it goes from the New Brunswick train station to the Bound Brook train station,
Yes.
but it wanders around a good deal.
That
within
Somerset
train.
County Transportation runs that,
Yeah,
that and Scoot. Yeah, but they don't stop in Franklin. They do stop in South, they stop near Franklin, just
Well,
not in.
if they go from New Brunswick to Banbrook, they have to take Easton.
But they, yeah, so they go through,
But they don't stop.
no stop.
Well, the Dash always stopped in a number of places in Franklin. Maybe they cut all of that out?
Maybe, I think Dash service has been scaled back a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
like
have to look
so
at the
many
exact
things that
routes.
were
Yeah.
scaled back during COVID.
I know.
Yeah, but I want to find out about, I should ask Ridewise about these proposed New Jersey transit lines, whether they know anything about it.
Yeah, they probably would.
If anybody knows, they should.
They would know. Yep, yep.
To whom Ridewise reports?
Did you have anything
If
more?
it's in that individual, NGS freestanding?
Ridewise is like a regional transportation, it's under
Yeah.
the New Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, that's who
Oh,
they
it is?
report to.
Ah.
So it's like the regional authorities have
To
like,
North Jersey?
it's called North Jersey,
To North
Re-
Jersey,
yeah.
okay.
So there's a bunch of them, so like Keep Middlesex Moving is the
Yeah, I
one for
know,
Middlesex.
yeah, right, easy ride.
Nobody else has a comment?
No, Shirley did, she said. Shirley?
Shirley,
Did
did
you
you?
say you had a comment?
Just, I don't want to belabor the point on radon, but I wanted to ask, well, Dr. Chase, he's taking some notes. Give him a second, I have a question. You mentioned that Franklin Township had a program on this radon for residents. They could contact the government and get some assistance or knowledge or whatever. Do you recall when it was ended? What year that program was
No,
ended?
I don't recall.
If you had to take a stab at it.
If I took, what I could do is try to go through Environmental Commission minutes for the last 20 years and see if I can find it there. But it'll take a while.
So has it been a long time?
It has been a long time.
Oh, okay, because
You
I was.
remember it, Arnie?
Pardon me?
The radon program?
I'm not familiar with the radon program that they had. I don't recall how it worked.
It may have
It was
been-
probably a state-sponsored program, right?
I could have swore, didn't Somerset County, I'm looking at Rutgers Cooperative Extension, but maybe it was Somerset County Soil Conservation District. I feel like they have a radon test that you can get.
Right.
You know, when I worked for Union County, I remember at one point we had a program where people could get those canisters.
Yeah.
And you could even get them at Home Depot. I
You
assume
can
you
buy-
can
I
still
bought
get them at
several
Home
of them,
Depot.
right,
And then
right.
you mail them somewhere.
Exactly.
And you get the results back.
Mhm.
So, but you already know the results. You're looking for how to remediate, which we can talk about that after the meeting for a minute or so.
Right. The reason I'm asking that question is, I'd like to know if the program was killed around the time that Canal Walk was being envisioned.
Oh, about 2000.
It
I'd
probably
like
had
to
to,
know.
it probably
Would it
had
be
to
around
do.
early 2000 or even the late 1990s? Yeah.
Probably had to do with the state.
Interesting.
It had to do with the state funding, and when the state funding, I'm speculating, but I would
Well-
guess these types of programs, they have a certain amount of funding.
Okay.
When we
I
bought the
may
house,
be
we had it
confusing it
tested.
in my mind with another, with water testing for, now, what were we testing for? Water.
Lead, arsenic.
Yeah.
Arsenic,
Right.
that's what, yeah.
Okay.
I may
Okay.
be mixing up these two programs in my mind, so.
So maybe the radon one didn't really exist, you think, or it did?
I think it existed. I think it was probably the arsenic testing that Ken Daly put a stop to, and that was purely a township arrangement.
Okay, because, I mean, it is a very serious issue, and even if you
Oh,
live
yeah.
on a slab, you're worse off, I understand, on a slab than with a basement when it comes to radon gas incidentally. And that really
It was good to
surprised
see
me.
him.
So I think it is something that we have to take seriously here. If you're having daily exposure to it, God forbid you have somebody living in the basement, that's even worse.
Looking for a new one.
Well, I know there was
I'm starting
a
to do
state
one on Monday.
geologist really got this program going. And lived over in, I think East Amwell Township, someplace like that. He had his own basement tested, and it was 85 parts per billion.
Oh, my
It
God.
was quite high.
Yeah, 70, I think, is extreme, isn't it?
No.
Or is it
Yeah,
7.0?
it certainly was
7.0, I
actually
just
requiring, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, okay,
What?
nobody else?
Okay, yeah, that's.
Thank you. Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Oh, I wanted to
All
get.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Tara, I just have one
Second,
comment.
oh, sorry, discussion.
Dash.
Should work there anymore.
It looks like it
anyway,
stands for
so who knows
Driving
what they're doing
Alexandria
over. I could call
Safely Home. And it's from a program that started in Alexandria, Virginia.
Really?
I'm
I mean,
sorry,
that's-
maybe I can talk to them.
That's what Google tells me.
Wow, that's interesting.
Google machine.
I
The
like
Google
it.
machine.
The Google. Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Motion, so moved.
So move.
All in favor?
Second.
Motion.
Aye.
You
I
know
don't
what?
have a gavel.